Good evening. Today I went to the hospital to get the results from my latest CAT scan. So the CAT scan was last week, and I had gotten the results from my blood test in the meantime, which showed that my CA125, which is a tumor marker in my blood, was going up, which we already knew, and we knew that the cancer was coming back, and I knew that there would likely be something on the CAT scan, and I was fully prepared for that today. And what the CAT scan showed is that one of the spots on my liver has grown a little bit, and a couple of the spots in my lungs have grown a little bit, and there are a couple of new spots in my lungs. But everything is under a centimeter, like it's still really small, and we've got time, and it's exactly what I expected. And so walking into the appointment today, I thought it was going to be very matter of fact. My doctor that I deal with now wasn't going to be there today, which I knew because he's at a conference, but I wanted to get the results from the CAT scan, and I told him that I would meet with him next week and just meet with the doctor today to get the results. So I went to the hospital, and I met with a different doctor. And I gotta tell you, I don't know where some of these people get their training, because the bedside manner and the lack of judgment just astonishes me sometimes. So like I said, I went into the appointment fully knowing that, the news wasn't going to be great, and I'd prepared myself for that. But while I'm sitting in there, he starts talking to me about treatment options, which is great. And he says, well, you can take tamoxifen, but, it doesn't really show a great response rate. Or you can take whatever other protocol he was recommending. It says that there's an 18% response rate, but really what we've seen is that it's less than that, and maybe it's 10 to 15 at the outside. Or maybe you can try this, but it's not really going to work because it's only showing a response rate of, 10 to 12%. And I'm sitting in there listening to him tell me treatment option after treatment option that isn't an option. And time and again, he's telling me, well, you could do this, but it won't work. And you could do that, but it won't work. And I'm sitting there getting extraordinarily frustrated and, quite frankly, very upset because, the last thing that you want to hear when you're in there and there's tumor growth is, well, here are the treatment options and none of them are going to work. And he had mentioned a couple of others. He said you could do a clinical trial or you could do this other form of chemo. And I finally looked at him and I said, you're really not being very helpful. I said, I'm not trying to be rude here or anything, but I don't need to know all of the treatment options that are potentially available that aren't going to work. I just need to know what your recommendation is for treatment options that might. So all of that to say that I'll be meeting with my regular doctor next week when he's back from his conference, and we'll discuss treatment options that are viable options and that aren't just pie in the sky intellectual discussions of medical science at its current state. Anyways, it was a very frustrating day, and I left the appointment really, really, really upset. And despite knowing what the news was going to be, and despite being fully prepared for it, the blatant negativity that this guy had just really got to me. Because, I walk around in this cloud of optimism, and whether it's realistic or not, it's the cloud that I choose to live my life in so that I can keep living it in a relatively normal manner on a day-to-day basis. And while you want to be realistic, you don't want to be shit upon. And I really just walked out of there feeling pretty brutal. So it wasn't a great day. The results aren't bad, and nothing has changed from yesterday, but it just put me in a really foul mood. So if there are any doctors out there, can I just take this opportunity to say, choose your words carefully. There's a lot of information out there. Some of it we need, some of it we don't. We don't need to know absolutely every treatment potential out there. that we're going to rule out in order to have informed consent. It's not necessary. You know, it just, you know what your mom used to say, think before you speak. Just think there's a person sitting on the other side of that room. And you're not talking about paint options for their kitchen. So, you know, just think. So, sorry, not a very positive message tonight, but he just put me in a really crappy mood. So, anyways, I think maybe we need to incorporate a course on bedside manner in medical school. That's my rant for this evening. Hope everybody has a good week.